Okay, welcome everybody to Planning and Licensing on Wednesday, the 31st of July. Duncan, apologies.
This evening, we just have apologies from Councillor North.
The sub anyway, so doesn't need to give her apologies. I think we have a couple of people declaring interests, so you need to fill out the relevant forms. If anybody else discovers one, please have a as and when. Meeting management issues. I see we do have somebody in the public gallery, so I'm fairly certain what we will do is bring that application up after public questions. Duncan, do we have any minutes for, it's the 24th of June. I think mine said got very absent.
24th of July. I'm afraid I haven't got anywhere near.
No, I didn't think
I'm afraid we've been a bit concertinaed in terms
so
of
the only matter arising which we can't discuss is the letter, but we'll worry about that when you've got the minutes done. Public question time. Right, we have 50 minutes. Would you like to, are you here to present on your applications? If you'd like to come down. Councillor Thompson's declaring interest, so she's leaving the room. What would you like to tell us?
Thank you for letting me come and speak. This application first appeared in front of you last year, and you were kind enough to give us a good number of points for us to look at. I'll come back to that in a moment, but really just to give a little context, Watergate Bay Hotel's been in my family since 1968, and sort of over the years we've done lots of incremental projects that you will all be aware of, and what we've tried to do here is to pull together what we believe is the future for Watergate Bay in what we're terming a master plan, but as far as you're concerned, obviously is a large planning application. And it's to allow the business to continue to succeed into the future. We know that we're in a global marketplace, and people can go anywhere to have holidays, and that we wish therefore to make sure that we are staying at the forefront of hospitality globally, and of course do so in a sensitive way from a light touch approach as far as the environment, and that's always been at the forefront of our minds throughout the time we've been running the business, and we are close, we hope, to becoming a B Corp business, which we're very excited about. And fundamentally, we are also a year-round business that employs a good number of people. When I took over the business in 2000, we had 10 year-round employees, and now we have over 250 in full-time employment, and we hope that this application will further support and allow us to evolve into the future and continue to be a major part of the local economy. If I can just come back to some of the challenges that you put to us a year ago. We withdrew our application because not only had we had various comments that we wished to deal with, but also the consultees in part wished also to have more information, and therefore we've spent the intervening period, which feels like a long time, addressing these issues and fundamentally giving much more information through this second or subsequent application. There were certain elements that the Newquay Town Council Committee were keen to comment on, one of which was the massing of the Tregarrian building, and actually what we have done is to reduce the building by a floor, and it now sits lower than the extant planning permission that is currently granted on the site, and further away from the Waves building as well, which is next door to us. And we hope that that is a significant indicator of how much we wish to both work with the local community, those who own holiday apartments in Waves building, as well as obviously the local community through the planning committee. We also have worked up our traffic calming schemes for Watergate Bay. We intend, although of course we don't own the highway, we intend to invest in making Watergate Bay a safer place and a calmer place for pedestrians and cars to coexist. And as a result, working with Cornwall Council Highways, we've done a road safety audit, which was requested by them. And that now forms part of, well, it has been submitted to them and that forms part of this application. So we've been working with them in that regards, and that you will see addresses some of the concerns that you had with regards to pedestrians and the food pavilion that sits at the front end of the car park. There was a comment when I came to present these new plans to you back in the very end of last year. Could we align the sort of pedestrian crossing a little bit more squarely? But again, from a highways perspective, that isn't an optimal solution. So what is in front of you is what effectively has been proposed in consultation with Cornwall County Highways. We have also done further ecology surveys, improved our biodiversity net gain provision, and probably the longest and most detailed piece of work was to address some of the concerns from the Environment Agency with regards to wave overtopping. Obviously, there's several buildings that sit in front of where we're proposing to build, and the Environment Agency had some concern. Well, not concern, they just needed to be reassured. And so we have taken the foremost authority on wave overtopping, who are currently actually employed by the Environment Agency to do a study as to future wave overtopping movements, and they have produced the piece of work which has now been submitted as well as part of the scheme. There was also a comment from Councillor Fitter, from Cornwall Councillor Fitter, with regards to whether we were going to be building a bridge or a or something, and I think there had been a misunderstanding there. What we are proposing is a very discreet walkway over the sea lane that we own that connects our car park to the hotel, not across the public highway or anything of that ilk. So I just wanted to make sure there was some clarity there. And other than that, we have made some small changes that may be difficult to spot through the application, but all of them are trying to respond to the comments that we had both from the public, from the consultees, and from yourselves. So that's, I think, probably the extent of what I wanted to say, other than, you know, we wish to continue to play our role in the local economy, and you know, we believe this is the right approach for Watergate to continue to succeed in the future. Thank you. Well, could I also add that you asked for us to do some verified views as well, and they have been done as part of this application to show you the extent of the Tregurian building, where the extant permission is due to go.
Just asking him to put up one of the what it actually looks like. It's one of the illustrations on the if you look, oops, just
You've got these ones with the.
That's what they'll do.
That'll do. Yeah.
I think so. If you expand the top one, then that will show you what we're looking at. And the one below is what the original planning permission was, with the pointy roofs. So not brilliant, but I think can everybody see what we're looking at there? So can I just ask, before I ask anybody else for questions, the what you call the little restaurant, the landmark building, that appears to be on top of the cliff, is it? I'd sort of been under the impression it was on the car park, but
no. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it is absolutely in the car park, but because it's a photo montage, they see, and what they've done is I think it's called a wireframe approach, where they effectively put pencil marks over it.
Yes.
And in essence, you have to imagine that it's behind the foreground, and sat.
So it's not where it's not where it appears to be on.
No, it's in the car park where there's currently a temporary pizza and ice cream concession.
And in the same way, the sort of the flats that are overlooking the sea, they're actually on the car park, slightly away from the cliff, aren't they? Because I remember that from.
Yes, so very much so, and
Yeah.
I think you'll see some of the again
But
the
the
wireframe is showing us a slightly, how can I put it, strange perspective.
Yeah, but the Tregarian Hill, the Tregarian Hotel one is relatively where it is, and
So
what it
the
look like.
the old Tregarian Hotel, which
Yes,
is the site that has the extant permission. What you're also seeing is the white lines behind it are the car park.
If you go down
well.
a photo, you'll see that yellow is the existing permission, isn't it?
Yes.
And then the up above is what you're doing, which is slightly lower. Right, does anybody have any? Katie?
Hi, I'm Councillor Larson. Thank you for coming in, really helpful. Could you explain for us what wave topping is and what the concern was? I have looked at the report, but I still can't seem to get my head around it, sorry.
Yeah.
And then how you're mitigating it, just in a quick summary.
Certainly. So wave topping is simply the process by which waves would overtop a sea defence, basically, and with increasing with climate change, there is likelihood that those wave overtopping events will therefore increase. And so what they have done is modelled 60 years, which is the lifespan of the building. And they are saying that in time, we need to consider how we will mitigate against that. They are helpfully saying that because we already have sea defences and we have both a seawall and rock armour, we are entitled to continue to improve our defences. So it's not a situation where you simply have to let nature take over. We are in an environment that allows for us to address that. And they are suggesting that, for instance, either an increased height to the seawall or additional rock armour in front of the seawall to break the energy of the wave as it runs up to the wall. Yeah.
When you say they, can you just for clarity, who are they?
They are Royal Haskoning DV, who are a Anglo-Dutch company that are specialists in coastal processes.
That been agreed with the Environment Agency?
The Environment Agency gave us 3 questions to answer. One of which was, and the most important, was around wave overtopping. Another was around encroachment, which means, can the waves get in round behind our sea defences? And the third one, I can't remember, but the Royal Haskoning report specifically addresses the issue of wave overtopping that the Environment Agency were keen to understand.
Very big waves hit the Tregarian Hotel. I do notice that the Environment Agency is worried about the culvert, which is it's nothing to do with us really, because we can only talk to you about and see what the experts say.
Yes, so the local, the lead local plan lead local flood authority, is that what it's called? Yeah. So the Environment Agency have effectively, from what I understand, have delegated, if you like, the responsibility to the lead local flood authority, who have been working with our structural engineers. And as far as I'm aware, there are no concerns other than I think they've asked for us to adjust the way that we've presented a rainfall analysis or something along those lines. But the culvert was put in under the car park in 1993 before we owned the car park. And we have a scheme agreed with the lead local flood authority to build not over the culvert, but to the side of the culvert, etc.
Nothing to do with the Tregarian development, all the new blocks along the side.
The bedrooms in the car park, are the bits that I think relate to that. But of course, the lead flood authority the local lead flood authority also need to look at the Tregurrian site as well, because all of it, even though there was a building there before, we have to mitigate it. So we're going to be putting into the car park some attenuation tanks, which then allow us to take any of the surface water to the attenuation tanks. The attenuation tanks will then be able to feed that into the culvert in a way that doesn't overload the system.
Hi, thank you very much for coming in today. I'm sure it's a rather busy time of year for you. And I welcome the pedestrian crossing because I go up to Morganporth on a very regular basis, and it is quite crazy, especially with people who don't know the roads there. My question was about, can you talk us through the environmental measures that you are going to put in that are over and above the minimum requirements?
I will try, although it's not my area of expertise. So the Tregurrian building there, and in fact the food pavilion, you can now see, if you like, on this image in its sort of rightful place down on the car park and not sat up on the cliff. So the extant permission effectively replaces what was the Tregurrian Hotel, and there's a parcel of land behind that that has an extant permission to be a car park, which we are utilising. But really what we're trying to do is to address the main tarmac car park at the heart of the bay. And at the moment it's a great slab of tarmac, and we're going to be putting in Cornish hedging, etc., to visually soften it, but of course that gives us biodiversity net gain, as well as the roofs of the buildings will all be either grass or sedum, or I think one of each, in fact, as well as the ability for us to move any species that we find across the road to the scrubland that sits just in front of the village on the seaward side. There's a sort of a bank there, and so that is our proposal. But again, we've found very little evidence of species, particularly bats and things.
And from
And then, of course, we've also most recently, which is why we were delayed in being validated, we were asked to do a BREEAM assessment as well, because it's a large application. And the BREEAM assessment has come back with us at an excellent rating, which is, I believe, above the very good that Cornwall Council requires. So we're very pleased about that. And our heating strategy and various other things, which we are hoping to do, will be a ground source heat pump. So drilling down in order to generate our heat for all our requirements, etc., from the ground, as opposed to air source heat pumps, which unfortunately rot in our climate all too often, and or gas or any of the other options. So I think that goes beyond your question, but yeah.
No, that's great. And are there any solar electricity generation plans?
No, but I think from the BREEAM assessment, we believe we should be putting them on top of the Tregurrian building. It's not, as you can see, the Tregurrian building actually steps back, and so the roof is smaller than the footprint, so it doesn't allow for a great deal. But we do already have solar thermal, as well as a combined heat and power plant in the hotel. So we already take measures in that regard. But because of the grass and sedum roof of the building that's in the car park, that wouldn't be possible to do that.
Thank you.
Sedum on the top of that, on the top floor of the Tregurrian, the new Tregurrian.
I'm not going to tell you whether we do or don't, because I can't actually remember, and I don't want to give you a false answer.
It's actually top of the building, coming from behind. I think it's like it's on the top of the building.
I think it might well be.
I was under the impression it was a green room.
It looks like a green.
As Mr. Ashworth says, it's a much smaller footprint than the rest of the building, but
It's
from the
effectively a
title,
sort of
I think
small
it's-
lid. Yeah.
Blow this one up. So you've got 3 crossings now, haven't you, going?
Yes. So the idea, again, for affordability reasons, we are not talking about cobbling or doing a major change to the road surface, other than effectively indicating and breaking the road at, when I say breaking the road, at 3 points as you drive to that junction, so that there will be, in essence, zebra crossings, so that that'll indicate to traffic that there is a change of approach as you come in. And now one of them is right down in the heart of it. Another one is towards the Waves building, and another one is up the Travarian Hill, to allow guests to cross.
Concerns before was that the car is up behind the Travarium. It looked like people would have to walk down the road to get to the bay. How are people from the car park getting to wherever?
They will all be residents, as in they'll all be hotel guests, and or members of staff. And there is a route down the side of the building which will keep them off the road. But one of the reasons for in fact, is the sort of shared surface, as it were, is shown in the dark grey. But one of the reasons for putting one of the zebra crossings up on that side is to allow people to traverse from the Tregurian site across to the beach side and to the hotel side, in a sort of traffic calmed way. Well, it's wooden, and it'll no doubt grey down over time, but it's not certainly not meant to be a chocolate box.
Apologies if this is in there. There's a lot of fantastic documents. Has there been any factoring of the? Is there an increase? Well, there's certainly an increase in guests with the new building, and therefore, to some extent, a small increase in traffic, cars coming. So is that factored into the car parking for when it's already at capacity in summer at the moment?
Yes, it is. So the car park that is shown behind the Tregurian building, you can see it there in a sort of a white block with a little arrow pointing at it. It's not a multi-story car park, because that sounds far too grand. But what it is one level partially over another level, which I think gives us an additional 50 spaces, I think. Forgive me if the numbers are slightly out, but that's our way of addressing that. Also to say that we're talking about 12 new suites in the car park, and we're talking about a relatively small number of hotel apartments in the Tregurian building. So we're not actually talking about very significant numbers of people. It's more about raising the quality of the guest experience, because we know that we're competing internationally and globally, and we know that it's the quality that will drive us in the future. So that's why we're investing in bigger, better rooms, rather than, well, we are creating more of them, but rather than trying to create lots of density, it's much more about quality.
Final question from me. Looking through the comments, a lot of your neighbours feel that it's overdeveloped, which isn't surprising, because at the moment there's nothing there. And I was just wondering, and I appreciate you withdraw your previous application to take on board comments and things.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if you could just tell us a bit more about how much engagement you've had, and what I appreciate you're very keen for this to go ahead, but kind of how you're trying to kind of reach a certain level of compromise with that.
Yeah, thank you. So we obviously did a public consultation, and then we took on board all of the comments that came through in the last application, obviously including yours, but many of the neighbours as well. I think in one case we had a lady who was very tearful at our public consultation because she had bought one of the apartments in the Tregurrian on the backside, low down, on the ground floor. And when she'd bought it, her solicitor had not told her that there was an extant permission on the site. And so to a large extent, the hotel was knocked down, I'm going to say 15 years ago, but it might be more or less. John might know. And there's been nothing there since. And as a result, of course, people have got used to there being nothing there. But there is an extant permission. We have come down in scale below the level of the extant permission, and also our proposal is slightly further away from the Waves building to create a bigger gap between the two. We have done light assessments, we've done odor assessments, we've done noise assessments, and all of those have been done with the Waves building obviously in the forefront of our mind. And of course I understand why the people who have the holiday apartments in Waves would be concerned about any form of development there. It's completely natural. But I think we really have tried very hard to scale back the plans even below the level of the extant permission. And I think that is, you know, I suppose an indication of how much we value good relations, you know, with our neighbours. And we're certainly not trying to damage either their holidays or the value of their properties. But it is by the nature of the fact there was a big building there before.
Have you moved it further back from the road? Or
It's not from the road, from the extant permission. Our new building is further away from the end of the Waves building. Do you see that sort of rusty, it's not rusty colour, it's a sort of copper colour cladding. That is the closest point to the Tregurrian building, and there is a greater gap between those. And we've come down a story, obviously, since the last applications.
If they were looking from their flats towards the bay,
Yes.
would the new building be in front of them, or would it be tapered back a bit, or what? What's the relationship?
So the extant permission established with the Cornwall Council planners a line that they didn't want us to move forward from, or the previous applicant. And in essence, there is a line from the turret of the Waves building on the front. Well done. There's a line from the turret of the Waves building across to a point on the Watergate Bay Hotel that was kind of agreed as being the point at which we shouldn't come forward, and we've kept to that that previously agreed. Yeah.
It's effective. You're not. It's because it's not there at all. They're worried about it from the view, not from the fact that you're coming forward and blocking the view, which the extent permission, indeed the extent the original hotel had.
Yeah, and I would also point out, if I may, that on the lowest floor, so it's almost subterranean. It obviously isn't at the front, but is it at the back? That's below the ground floor level of the Waves building. So yes, that does come forward of that line, but it's below the car park level of Waves, so it's irrelevant from the perspective of view or interference, I think. And that's where our sort of staff welfare and our energy management areas are going to be.
I'm actually going to put Councillor Fitter on the spot now, because it's obviously a very large development. Would you, from the comments on what the neighbours are saying, be considering calling this in, or is it merely you're going to listen to what we've got to say before you make your decision?
No, I certainly wouldn't want to call it. I would get a delegated approval. You know, I see no problem. I think that I've made the point, because I think it's a justifiable concern about the effect it may have on the some of the other flats. The whole point is, this hotel was there, we've got this format of the stamp permission, so you know we are where we are. In the ideal world, I suspect we'd like to say, you know, they would like to say, don't build it, but the point is we are where we are. And from my point of view, I think it's going to be a vast improvement to the bay, because it will become I think, the out of town Premier Resort for Luton. So certainly, Madam Chairman, I have no problem at all in saying that I would wish it to be delegated. I certainly wouldn't be calling it to committee unless you asked me to call it to committee for a refusal. And even then, I might be cautious to have more planning reasons and discussion with you as to the reasons why you want to refuse. But otherwise, I'm guided by you.
No, fine. I just in case for anybody listening who may not have heard what you said because you weren't about that you haven't got any concerns, that you wouldn't be calling it in unless we have a major problem with it.
Absolutely.
So this anybody listening can hear what the position is. Right. Oh, Katie.
There's a comment about the proposed footbridge, which I understand is down with the white roof. Is that correct? And making the point that, which I couldn't sort of see until they pointed it out, that it will affect how it looks from this side looking down. And in fact, even for your own building, perhaps people have a view straight down to the beach, I think is the point they're trying to make. And they're saying that it's already pedestrianized, so adding a bridge is not necessary. Do you have any response to that?
Yeah, so Councillor Fitter at the original application was, I think, concerned about whether there would be an impact. I think originally there was some misunderstanding about a bridge across the main public highway between the hotel and the Tregaron building. What we're talking about, and I don't know whether Duncan, you're able to pull it up, is a very low level pedestrian walkway that goes from the tarmac car park across to the main entrance of the hotel. Because at the moment, people have to walk down, I'm going to say 15 or 20 steps down onto the sea lane, across and up 15 or 20 steps, which with luggage and various other things. There you can see the and effectively what in discussion with Councillor Fitter seemed appropriate was a very simple deck which people could walk along, and then instead of putting any substantial material to make the sort of safety rails, we're going to do that either in glass or we're going to do that in some form of discrete wire mesh, so that effectively we don't make a large visual obstacle for the sea lane. But as you can see there, there's always a number of buildings, both at the end of the sea lane at the bottom there, as well as at the top and on either side, including cars. And I think the snapshot you get through that element there is already heavily influenced by other factors, if I can put it like that.
Going to do now is close public questions, so we can't really talk to you anymore. I'm also going to propose that we bring this application up to discuss it straight away, so you don't have been seconded by Councillor Brooke. Show of hands to change the agenda. Right, thanks very much for coming. That was very, very useful. So Duncan, would you like to briefly take us through it, because I think we've had a lot of the detail now.
I do not think the words brief stick comfortably with this application at all. This is something of a whopper. Right, we're just going to sort out sharing our screen. So if you can tell me when I'm ready to do that.
Have you not been sharing the screen up to now?
No.
Ah, so they don't know what we've been talking about.
Yep, all good. Yeah, that may be the case, but they've been able to see your lovely faces. So, right then. So, as a let's make sure that's doing what it should do. It's not. No. Sorry, just bear with me for 1 moment.
So what we will see is what the visiting public will be seeing, if any.
That should be good now. Right. Excellent. Right. Thank you. Okay. Let's just go back to the street view. So in June 2023, this committee objected to an application of the same description as this current application. A high level of public objections at the time, I think there were 29 objections, and concerns raised by consultees were recorded on the planning register. The application was subsequently withdrawn early in September last year. In terms of comments on the register at the moment, we do have 10 public objections, and I think 12 of the consultees have responded. And you do have those in your pack in front of you, starting on page 1. Very briefly, then, the site location plan, red, and so the red line site covered by today's application, and then the larger blue line site, land owned by the applicant, and the existing site plan, worth a quick look, just because it gives a little more detail of the car parking area, referred to in the application document as the well, I've been calling it the XA. I might be wrong when I call it that, but and then the car parking to the rear of the site of the former Tregurrian Hotel. I gave you some handouts. No, they were just a couple of pages from the very large design and access statement. The current proposals form part of the wider Watergate Bay Hotel Master Plan, which envisages development and improvement of the complex through to 2030. Specifically, the proposals that we're looking at here form phases 3 and 4 of the master plan. That's, I think you can see that on this side of the printed sheet I've given you.
We can't see the buttons. Turn it round.
That's it. That's the one I'm showing. Oh, sorry. Yours is double. Sorry, I do apologise. It's that one there. My God, visual comedy. Visual humour is not dead, is it? Right. Yeah. So that's phases 3 and 4 of the master plan, effectively, that we're looking at this evening, which is building on the earlier phases, which have been granted permission and have been implemented. So I wanted to start off with the design and access statement. So the master plan phasing, that's what you've got in front of you. So we're looking at these bottom 2 images. 3 and 4 it excludes the phase 3B, which is going to present itself in a separate planning application at some point in the future.
Sorry, what does 3B do?
3B is it's labelled as the conversion of the Watchful Mary roof to a publicly accessible deck. Obviously, that's right down on the seafront.
Yeah.
That's not included. Everything else is though. So it's the apartment hotel, the new elevated walkway connection, which we looked at a moment ago. The what's labelled here is the C deck and car park and the XA building. So I wanted to just skip forward page 32 here. Oh yes, and that's detailing the that's the other image that you've got on your handout, detailing the main images, the XA, the Tregurrian site, and what we're referring to as the public realm, which is really these kind of crossing areas, and the new pavilion building marked with the number 4 there. And I think there are some changes in road service. I think that a road safety audit has been entered into between the applicant and Cornwall Council Highways. So they have been working very closely together to get something that highways are going to be happy with, because obviously there is a lot of interaction with pedestrians and vehicular traffic, especially down at the bottom here. And you did raise concerns previously about how that would work, especially in front of the beach pavilion there. The XA, we are in this area here. We are talking about 2 new accommodation buildings situated in the southwest corner, providing a total of 12 hotel suites. And we'll have a look at these all in order. Amongst other things, the XA site includes the elevated walkway linking Watergate Bay Hotel to the car park in that wider area. The Tregurrian site up here, we're looking at the redevelopment of the site that was the home of the former Tregurrian Hotel. This will provide 8 new holiday apartments in a building that will also accommodate the Watergate Beach Club, which will include swimming pool, gym, studios, treatment rooms, along with restaurant space and an area for staff wellbeing. There will also be, as we've seen, a partially decked car park at the rear of the site. And then the public realm includes creating a more pedestrian-friendly area with traffic calming measures and the addition of this new pavilion building, which I think we'll look at next. The pavilion building will be serving food and drinks and incorporating a small retail space. Indeed, you've got quite a nice image of the sort of public realm heart of the site, and this is the beach pavilion, this wooden curved roof building that you can see in the bottom right hand corner. Let's just have a look here. So we have some elevations of the beach pavilion, just to give you an idea of you know, it's sort of kind of general shape from all different angles. I think if we go further back in the where are we? Here we go. Design and access statement gives you quite a nice idea of the use areas. So you've got serveries, and the purple one there would be the shop. So I think people will be walking up to the serveries but not going into them, and the shop obviously they would be going into. And then you've got this, it's referred to on here as a waiting area, a wooden area in front of the pavilion. Well, basically in front of the pavilion and up to the road that leads down into Watergate Bay. We'll look at the XA next. I think I've just closed the document I need to keep open. Sorry, I just need to move that somewhere else. There we go, go down there. So this is the 2-storey building, which will be on the existing private car park, the XA, and this building creates 12 hotel units. You can see it's the 2 sort of 2 stories to it there. So yeah, it's got this sort of
Could you show us where that is on the map? Sorry, this particular one.
Yeah, certainly.
I think the interesting thing about them is they're not on the cliffs, they're on the car park.
Yeah,
And
I've
where
got-
the cliffs come down the car park.
I think if you
It's
can,
number 1.
but if you bear with, I think you'll get an idea of where they are in a moment, if that's okay. If I can just stick with the document that I've got open at the moment, and it will become apparent. Just to let you know that this will be split into 3 1-bedroom units and 9 2-bedroom family rooms. We've already discussed the culvert that runs through the car park, and there is a conversation to be had about the number of car parking spaces, obviously, that will be lost as a result of this, which we can touch on a little bit later. Let's see. 5 and 6, right. Okay, so you've got the west and the east elevations here. So basically, it's at the far end of the car park. You know,
Do you know where it is on? Which number? These are numbers, so.
right? If you can bear with me for a moment. Yes.
It's 2.
So if you look at the phase 4 image, which is the one in the bottom right hand corner,
Yep.
you're looking at the XA building. It's marked 4C.
4C. Okay.
Okay.
I thought you
So
were
it's
not.
right in that sort of corner towards the existing buildings
Got it.
that are the last thing before the beach and the sea.
And on the master plan, I think that's 2.
And so that's just behind the restaurant, is that correct?
Yes. Well, yeah. Right. Yeah, no, I think that you can see here that a lot has been done to blend these buildings in with the hillside behind. Hopefully that's apparent from the from these elevations. As we also said, we have actually looked at this already, but the XA also includes the walkway that we've had a quick little look at as well. So that's that part of the application. So we've looked at the public realm, we've looked at the XA with its 2 buildings. We'll have a look at the Tregurrian Hotel next. So I think, as we've already seen, the Tregurrian Hotel is fitting into this space. As you're looking at the street view to the right of the Waves apartments, and it is the Waves apartment residents that have, I think, pushed a lot of the objections forward to this application, and specifically this aspect of it. So. Just checking I'm on the right one. Yeah. So here we've got quite a useful artist's impression of the proposed. It's been referred to as an apart hotel. The decked parking is to the rear of that. And here we have an artist's impression. Excuse me, looking down Tregurrian Hill, decked parking, and the apart hotel with its green roof. Beyond that. We have some elevations which are useful for us to look at, because of course we have looked at this application already. So this, let's just make that slightly large for you. So this was the apart hotel that we looked at last year. Concerns were raised around the height of it, and you can see there it has been reduced in height. It has lost a complete floor indeed. The north and west elevations, I think it was also pointed out that there's a greater distance. In fact, it might be worth revisiting that. I don't think the change in distance is particularly coming across here actually. But we are told that the current proposal is further away from the Waves apartment.
Just on the loss of that complete floor, can we just confirm that the original proposal was within the extant permission? So that the last one that was withdrawn, they did have permission to get up to that height, and they've come down from there.
I'll talk about the extant permission in a minute. Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's for a different, quite a different building, but I can illustrate the implications of the extant permission. If you, I'll show you that in just a minute. So yes, the north elevation. Again, let's make that a little larger. So that's as seen from the decked car park, if you like. The west elevation.
This is the proposed elevations.
These are the proposed elevations, the current proposed elevations, yes. The west elevation facing Trevarian Hill. So yeah, if you're standing on Trevarian Hill or from the Watergate Bay Hotel, this is what you would be looking at. And then the east elevation. This one again, I've doubled up here and I've gone back to the previous application just so that you can appreciate the changes that have taken place. This is obviously quite an important one simply because this is the side that is facing the Waves apartments.
So which one's this?
So this is the just let me line these up slightly. There we go. So this is we're looking at the moment at what was the previous application from 12 months ago, as seen from the side of the Waves apartments. And there we go. It's as you can see there, you can sort of appreciate the reduction there in the height, scale, and mass of the building. Okay. I said that we'd talk about the extant permission. This is the point now where I have a dangerous number of documents open. Yeah, who knows what will happen next. So if we're looking at this bottom image, and I think let's just make that a little larger. So what you are looking at here, this shows the scale. Well, basically, the background is in 2008, permission was granted to the previous owner of the site to demolish the old hotel and replace it with a building that would contain 21 holiday apartments and associated restaurant, bar, and kitchen facilities. We are told these works were materially commenced. Thus, the 2008 permission remains a valid one, and so there is no time expiry on that now. Work started before the 3 years had elapsed. The red that we are looking at here is the scale of the extant permission. So that's what was granted in 2008. Wouldn't have even been Cornwall Council then, it would have been Stormwell, wouldn't it, who would have granted that. And the current proposal is what you can see in blue. So as you can see, the blue it's obviously smaller and it is further away from the Waves apartments.
You seem to have two shades of blue there. There's the light blue and then there's a sort of grey blue. What's the grey blue?
I think this. Do you mean this section?
Big.
Have you got a working pointer, Joanna, that you could help me out with here? Have you turned it on? So there's a little switch on the side. Push that forward. Okay.
Yes. So
Right.
you've got a little bit of light blue up there.
Okay.
And then you've got this sort of greyer area. Then a little bit of light blue there, a little bit of light blue.
Right, okay. Let me, if I scroll up here,
Yeah.
that's the blue area is the shape of the current proposal. The light blue bits are where the extant permission didn't fill that space. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Yeah.
so that's new.
Yes, yes. So the extant permission, although it went higher in other parts of the building, didn't go quite as high or quite as far across on that very top bit. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah, lovely, lovely, lovely. I was just gonna, I didn't want to spend too long on the floor plans of this, but this shows the split of the well-being areas, which are the sort of peachy coloured lower ground floor and ground floor areas, various studio and treatment rooms that we've that we talked about a little earlier, and then the purple and the green. I think we've got the mixture of the 1, 2 and 3 bedroom apartments. We can look at the floor plans if you want to, but I feel we've got a lot of detail here. The final document, I promise you this is the final one that I was going to show you anyway. I just wanted to look at the transport assessment. You did make a comment regarding parking previously. The transport, obviously we are losing parking spaces in the XA car parking area, in the private car parking area nearest the beach. In combination with existing parking, we are told that there will be a total of 126 spaces will remain available across the whole site. Creating a 2-storey building on the XA site obviously results in a loss of available car parking. We are told the site will keep 56 spaces, so that is a total of 71 spaces that would be lost from that car parking area. I believe that the comment that you'd returned last time actually referred to staff car parking and where exactly the staff. I think that we may have had a figure for the number of staff that were employed, and we were concerned that maybe not much provision had been given to where they would. It was I can't remember exactly how many staff it was. It might have been over 200, and there was a concern as to where they would actually be parking. That then is your application.
So where we have a policy that says commercial buildings, hotels in particular, should provide spaces for at least 75% of their bedrooms, this does not do that.
Well, we have we have figures here that suggest that it would. So we've got existing Watergate Bay Hotel. Sorry, let's see. So it's calculated here that you'd be looking at, it says 96 spaces will be required for the proposals, and it's stating that there will be 126 spaces altogether. So it should meet our policy in terms of the 75%.
Where did the 56?
Sorry, that was just referring to that one area, the XA parking,
Right,
which had 127 off the top of my head, and is going to lose 71 of those.
So effectively, you're saying over the whole Watergate Bay Hotel site, it meets our requirements.
Absolutely, yes.
And of course, it's got the car park, the Cornwall Council owned car park behind as well.
Yeah, which presumably is going to take a lot more of the visitor traffic, because you're losing 71 spaces from a car park that they would have otherwise been using. They will be using, this evening even.
Thank you, Duncan, for that relatively quick whistle stop tour. My initial impression is I think it is a very modern, thought through, nice nod to Art Deco, which obviously I like a lot. Building, forward looking. It's like when I've been on holiday, you see buildings like this, and I always think, why can't we have more of them in Newquay instead of Lego brick hotels, which just really frustrate me. My question, Duncan, sorry, is can you just remind me what the additional number of people capacity it's going to bring? Mhm.
That's going to create 12 new hotels.
So 24 people potentially. Some are 1 and some are 2 bed, aren't they?
Well, I mean, the ceiling they're done. I must admit, I haven't done that calculation as to exactly how many people you could squish into all of the apartments and all the beds.
I have to say, I do not like the design of the so-called landmark design, but that's just me not liking the sort of Nissan Hut approach, but it's not sufficient. Unfortunately, me not liking something is not a material planning reason. Basically, we've got a policies at E3 that supports development of the tourism industry. I think this is, a really fantastic development. I think it's going to be great for Watergate, even if I don't like the hut. We'd have to have a very, very good reason, but certainly to object to it. I would say because there are quite a number of concerns in the professional comments about the culvert. I think as far as the CCMA is concerned, our concern is really on top of the cliffs. Technically, this isn't the CCMA, but of course it's at the bottom of the cliff, so it's this wave topping or whatever. So I don't think we have any concerns at all about. Well, I don't have any concerns with the CCMA, but there is the concerns expressed about the culvert. There are various other things, preconditions that people are saying they need to do, which I would like to see. Joe, you're going to say something.
Yeah, nothing completely different from your. I quite like the. My taste is slightly different to yours, but I mean that particular hut's not a problem for me. I mean, at some point we'll be approaching a proposal, but I think that we need to be as sympathetic as possible to the public comments and the fact that what we're doing is asking. It's a whopping great big build, this, and I just feel as though whatever proposal we make, we need to try to be as balanced as possible. It may be that I mean, I don't know. Is anybody willing to make a proposal?
I would just say, just to sort of kind of reiterate what we've said, there is a fallback, if you like, which is this extant permission, which will be if this was thrown out, there still is a permission to build a much bigger building, much closer. As Councillor Fitz have said, we are where we are.
I completely take your point, and all of that is in the forefront of my mind.
Sorry, Joe. I think I think I get where you're coming from. And I think we do need to bear in mind people's comments of people who have bought seaside apartments in a hamlet for tourism. And so I think it's a case where we need to be pragmatic that that site was always going to be developed, and it's either developed into a Lego brick monstrosity, or which will devalue their properties, or it actually brings more facilities and things like that to support their investment and their holiday flats. So, you know,
You down to Gowan Hill, I think you do. Because I think that is, because I found the argument, because that's why we asked the question. I thought the argument that, you know, it's quite persuasive that obviously it's nicer to have nothing next door to you. But I do sympathise with them, but I can understand if you have a look down. That's why I asked the question about is it coming forward at all? The answer is no, it's not. So they should still get the view towards the bay over the car park. It'd be not quite as undeveloped as it is at the moment, but I don't think it's that they're objecting to. I don't think they're objecting to the car park. I think they're objecting to the Tregarian, and I don't think there's valid, you know, there's not sufficient reason to object on that basis. That's no, that's the Tregarian, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep. So is that the existing one or with the building? Because I don't think that's with the building. Yes, so. So that is still a relatively good view down to the bay.
Just, oh, sorry, Karen, just on Councillor Williams's comments about, I mean, all of what you said is well considered, nuance and everything. I completely take your point about if it's not this, it'll be something else. I mean, when we're ready, I think perhaps I'd move towards a proposal of no objection, but for the reason that I think to lend our full support to such an ambitious project is for me, that seems as though that's a bit too far. But I can't see a reason to object, because you'd have to justify it through various stages, and there isn't, because it's within permissions, isn't it? Well, I mean, I will eventually, but does anybody want to make a comment before we do move to a proposal?
I understand correctly, we're being asked about 4 things today. So one is the pavilion building, which personally I think seems sort of designed with good effort for the environment in the area. So I'd applaud that and I support that. Then secondly is what was called the XR, or the new, what are we calling them? The new hotel rooms at the bottom of the car park. I see some comments of concern, but given we've just been discussing the sort of numbers that would be added and they don't seem significant, again, there seems to have been sort of effort in that design to design something in harmony with the area. I do quite like the design myself, although I understand your concerns, and certainly a lot of environmental effort, which should absolutely be applauded. With regards to the walkway, which I believe is the 3rd thing we're being asked to approve, I asked my question. I mean, a lot of comments raised about the visual effect. The answer given to us was that people and what am I looking at? I'm looking at a document which has the whole site map. The people who would need that that walkway to walk from the car park over to the the current hotel building. And when I look at the current hotel building in the site map, there is already car parking there. And I can't see why the hotel shouldn't actually manage and ensure that people in that, who stay in those rooms, don't use, I've had to drag luggage around the world myself. I have absolute sympathy, and I love the idea of a bridge, but I have a lot of sympathy for people saying, look, this area is pretty precious, and those little glimpses of views are what make the area. And so to put that bridge in when people staying on this side can use this car park, and people staying in the existing hotel could use the 2 existing car parks there, sort of seems to me to take away the argument for that bridge. So personally,
Could I just say, I think it would also be about the people staying at the XA buildings being able to access restaurant facilities.
well,
I
they don't
think
need to
it would
drag their
just be-
luggage to do that because that is
no,
the argument
no,
that was
no,
given for the
it's not
bridge.
just about, it's not just about luggage, it's
Well,
about.
then they should be staying in the other building. I mean, we're weighing up impacts on one group of people or the other is partly what I'm trying to say. And personally, I don't support the bridge for that reason, that I think it has an impact on a bigger group of people, whilst, yes, of course, we want to support access for people with disability needs, but that access does exist on the other side. No, there's two. There's one next to it and one up the top as well. Yes, but it should be kept for. But there's insufficient, how to say, there's enough there for the guests in that building if they keep it only for the guests in that building. And then finally on the main building, I agree with the comments that there have been wonderful efforts to design something that can have a lasting positive visual impact in the area. And again, there've been good environmental efforts, which is fantastic. I think the concerns raised by the residents, and it's not only the residents, sort of also people walking by in the area of sort of overshadowing, do seem genuine. And the word overdevelopment comes up for me.
Residential dwelling. These are all holiday flats.
Yes, I do
So
understand
you
that.
don't say, when you say residents, you mean the owners of the fellow holiday apartments, not
Well, some of them say that
residents
they,
like in terms of housing.
well, a number of them seem to say that they are residents, whether they're called holiday flats or not. They call themselves residents in the comments. And so maybe they spend 9 months of the year, I don't know. But they talk about that being a residency for some of them. And regardless, if overshadowing is something we talk about on most applications, and overdevelopment, and this, there have been efforts to reduce it. I would rather have seen slightly more reduction, and that's my concern at this stage. Make one final comment, which is about the extent permission. I hear what our planning officer said, and this will finally sit with the actual planning officer, but people have raised concern that they don't believe that that extent permission actually exists. So I hope the planning officer will confirm that, the Cornwall Council officer.
You all know with the Whipsted that the extent planning permission, where they started, it became a valid planning permission. We can certainly ask for
No.
confirmation that it is extant.
But on the ground.
It sounds like you have a lot of, but you're not, are you going to propose objection on that?
Well, I'm not opposed to the first two buildings. It's a bit frustrating that it's all one application. If it was split, I'd be saying hallelujah on the first two and my concerns on the second two. So I'm a bit in a difficult place, really.
Joe?
Yeah, so on the scale of mass and the overshadowing, I tend to agree with you, but I think we're constrained on the existing permissions. But I take your point and agree with you. On the bridge issue, I wonder, I mean, I'm not sure I agree with you on this one. And this is about the balance about who we're helping. And I tend to fall on the accessibility side as more than, so we can agree to disagree on that particular point. But as a way forward, let's propose a comment about the bridge to perhaps have ask for a rethink and see whether there is a way that you can maximize the what's the expression, Duncan, about the view of the sea? The
Be helpful if I find us a street view. If I see if I can, I'm not certain how this is going to work or not. There you go. Yeah, so that's what you're looking at currently. So I think Mr. Ashworth made comment about there are a number of sort of visual obstacles already. So it's not a clear view. And I think this image shows that to some extent.
Can we, I wonder if we could return a comment about the visual scene and just see if there is anything to be done. I mean, I don't know what the right wording would be. Whether some of those, I mean, what we're looking at there is we can see some temporary buildings that may or may not stay. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but I think somebody who's got some expertise in this area. I'd completely take a point about the wiring of the bridge and about how that and the endeavours to minimise the view. I'm just wondering if we can have another go at looking at that.
This is sufficient for a no objection.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's sufficient for an objection, not for the size of the whole. I think we're happy to record concerns. I personally don't have a concern, but obviously there are some concerns being expressed. So they normally on a no objection, when we say we have a concern about the visual effect of the raised bridge, they usually come back with something to reassure us. And we'd like some reassurance. But I think the point about making sure that the planning permission, because that makes such a big difference, is truly extant, is a very good one.
Of course, to do that, and I guess no harm in us making that a comment. Thank you as well, and then a comment that if we're going with no objection, then that everything I've said, we all seem to sort of think the actual design, there's been good effort. It looks pleasant, maybe is a good word for it, and wonderful environmental effort, and yet could the officer double check the concerns around overshadowing and overdevelopment? Thank you.
Effectively, you're saying we need to check the extant permission.
Yes.
Yeah.
So whether or not there's extent, presuming it isn't, they are able to build to this extent. Nevertheless, doesn't any application have, we raise concerns all the time about whether something's overbearing or overshadowing?
Not
in this
smaller.
case. No.
That's the problem. If it's smaller,
The fallback position is more overshadowing, more loss of privacy, more overbearing. So
One or two of the comments.
so it makes it
There
a
is a
difficult
comment saying
question
that
to ask the officer.
that's not actually what the previous design was. They're saying it was further back up, like another metre or two back up the road. So I would, think that should be double checked. Higher parts of the previous building were on a different part of the plot, further west and north up the road with a different roof design. These crucial differences mean that the previous building would not have increased the overall height of the line. So, it's hard for us to tell. I think you've given us a great explanation, Duncan, and nevertheless, this is what the planning officer is there to do, is to
presented to us shows that Duncan has got it seems to be saying it's so I think we can ask for reassurance that it doesn't exceed it doesn't create more, as the comment says, they're saying they think it is creating more, being overbearing, so we'll ask for confirmation that it doesn't. I don't think it does.
Yes. I agree that it doesn't look like that, but
Sorry, just to be clear, reassurance that it doesn't create more overbearing than what?
The extant position, because what's happening is someone has come in with a comment to say they think it's more overbearing. From the evidence you presented to us, it isn't so, but we just want confirmation that
specifically they think it's come further down the hill, and the original design they think was further up the hill.
So we just want that confirmation.
Yeah.
So that shows that we've read the comments and we've. Yeah. So is anybody will prepared to propose what I think we're going for is no objection? Because if not, I will propose no objection with all the provisos that, you know, we've talked about. A second. So can we have a show of hands for no objection?
Just say I was being happy to support, but I'll support no objection.
Yes, I think no objections. For such a major development, which is not on that basis going to be called into committee, then I think no objections is fair.
I want, let's acknowledge that we've got differing views on this.
Yeah.
It's a very complicated development. And I think that to have a plurality of views on it, when we've reached a decision,
Yeah.
it represents how complex it is.
Yeah, it's a compromise solution, which we all supported. So, thank you for coming in. You heard what everyone was saying, so if there is anything you can do, please do it. 5-minute break.
Yes.
At past.
Are you staying for the sounds?
Oh, have you got another bit? No. No. So you've done enough.
Okay.
We said we'll meet again at 7:30. Okay, welcome back, everybody. So we're going to return now to the agenda, which was any active consultations.
We have no active consultations, I'm glad to report.
We have to make decisions on licensing application, other licensing matter. We've got the SANS.
Indeed, I'll quickly talk you through SANS. I've been talking, oh, sorry, Sarah's got an interest in this one.
Don't go too far. Won't take long.
Yeah, because this shouldn't take a minute. Right, so, yeah, the premises license application for SANS at Watergate Road. So as agreed at the meeting of the 2nd of the 7th, the representation was submitted in response to the application for a premises license for the SANS Resort. We put in an objection. A hearing date has been set for the 7th of August. And as I reported at the last meeting, I was speaking with the solicitor at Keystone Law, who's dealing with this for the Ashworths. So I reported that we were working towards amendments that would satisfy the concerns raised in our representation. We suggested a more robust wording for the Challenge 25 policy. That's been accepted by the applicant, absolutely fine. We asked that the plans actually met the Licensing Act regulations. They have I have now seen a plan that shows the boundary of the premises, which is what was required. And we also asked for a condition ensuring that off sales would be in sealed containers. We didn't want people staggering out with open bottles and glasses onto Watergate Road. A suitably worded condition has been put forward. It is any off sales of alcohol, save for those drinks which are to be consumed within the hotel grounds or hotel bedrooms. Basically, they're saying away from the bar area, shall be in sealed containers. My recommendation would be that satisfies the concern that we had that people will be wandering out into public areas with open glasses and bottles in their hands. And my qualified view on this is that we are in a position now where they've given us what we wanted, and we can say, yes, we are happy with that. And we don't see a need for a hearing to take place now.
Surprised at some of that, which is so standard, particularly the Challenge 25. I mean, why was that not, but I think it was a very valid representation.
My answer to that is I think it's a licensing solicitor based in Nottingham. I think all the local ones are very much up to speed with what the police want to see, for instance, in terms of Challenge 25. I think because they were so far removed from Cornwall, I think that's where the lost in translation, I think.
So can I propose that we withdraw our representation on the basis that the conditions we asked for have been met? So Katie, you seconded it. Show of hands to withdraw. Right, thank you very much, and thank you for everything you did on that, Duncan.
Yeah, no worries.
Oh, it's just a nice thing now. Thank you. There you go. Okay, so previous funding applications, do we have any?
We haven't had any 5-day protocols since we had a bit of a raft of them come through, but we haven't had any come through.
We haven't had many applications recently.
It has been quite a quite a nice number, and I'm so pleased about that, because the amount of time that it took to put together something for that last application, it wouldn't have left much room for anything else. I'd just say, with regard to the appeal decision, I haven't started that letter because of our concertina 2 meetings in 2 weeks. I will be starting that tomorrow.
I doubt if it's going to make much difference to the grand scheme of things, but I think we ought to, because it might make a difference to future.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I think we can now go on to planning applications. I think you're doing them all, aren't you, Duncan? I think. No, you didn't. But there's nothing then. So, application number 1, PA 24/05299, retention of a home gymnasium constructed on site of semi-derelict garage and external stall, 73 Henver Road.
So first of all, you will see on your comments pack, the very first comment is a comment of support in favour of this application. Just a short comment from one of the neighbours. So 73 Henver Road. It's a it is a property that we've seen before, because a while ago, I can't remember when, we did the application that saw it that allowed it the commercial space to become the Cornwall Salt Room. Anyway, that's property. The home gymnasium is at the rear. So the proposal is to retain the home gymnasium constructed on the site of the now demolished semi-derelict garage and adjacent store. This is subject to an enforcement notice. The application tells us that the work began in September 2023 and was completed a few months later in December. I'll bring up the block plan. Oh, sorry, I'm just going to do something here. Bear with me for just one moment. There we go. So this orange area here is the garage that was demolished, and you should be able to, hopefully you can see the black outline, which is the home gymnasium as constructed. The new building is almost the same footprint as the demolished former garage and store. We are told that mistakenly the applicant took it down under the impression that they could do this under permitted development, and apparently if the building had been formed with a flat roof, that would have been the case, but it isn't. It's a pitched roof. So yeah, we could see the old garage you previously just used for storage, and the gym pretty much on that same footprint. There's a planning statement that's got a couple of useful images. So there we go. Oh, hang on a second. That's what was in place. That's what's come down, and this is the gymnasium. I believe that the salt room and the gymnasium are all driven by the fact that the applicant actually has cystic fibrosis. So this has all kind of been, it's both benefiting, or certainly the salt room, both benefiting people with similar conditions and the applicant themselves. We have some elevations if you want to look at them. They're not particularly exciting. I think that that image of the building tells you really all that you need to know.
It hasn't got any sort of cooking or plumbing facilities.
Nope. Just go back to those elevations. As you can see, it's shown as being completely empty. I think it does need a condition that makes sure that it's not used for residential, definitely. But and it does sit slightly further away from the boundary than the existing did. So there is a slight benefit there as well. At least for maintenance purposes, they can get alongside it.
You took the words out of my mouth. I would say we don't want permanent residential there. I mean, if the family choose to go there in the summer and let out their house for a fortune, I could no objection to that. But I think we need a condition that it's not appropriate, or it particularly isn't appropriate because it hasn't got any plumbing for permanent residential occupancy. But I'm going to propose no objection on that basis. It's retrospective, sorry.
The question I had is it open to the public or is it a private home gym?
I believe that this is for the applicant.
So it's not connected to the salt room offering.
I don't. I haven't read anything in the application documents.
No,
I just
wanted to check that.
Yeah.
I must have missed that. What does the salt room do?
I'm not entirely clear myself, but I know it is.
As I said, the applicant has cystic fibrosis and people with other breathing difficulties. I think asthmatics can benefit from this.
But are they salt?
People with
Salt treatment, yes.
heavily infuses the air. I think you've got like a chronic pulmonary disorder, that kind of thing. It can
Yeah.
ease ease your open up your airways.
So in that case, members of the public can go in and breathe salt.
Indeed, but not in this building. This is
Right.
just a gymnasium, and I believe
Yeah.
that this is just very specific for the
Okay.
applicants.
So again, I'll say no objection, retrospective, one of those things. I think John seconded it. Show of hands to no objection. Right, no need to make a meal of it. So application 2, PA 24/05148. This is the K's Chemists and the flats on that. I'm sure you're going to have some fun showing us before and after on the approved and now the new proposed, Jack Duncan.
I should point out that reduction from 10 to 9 was actually probably a pragmatic thing on the part of the applicant, because some of you may remember, if you do 10, then you have crossed the threshold for section 106 contributions, and I don't think they realised that until the officer pointed it out, and so they had a redesign and brought it down to 9. By October 2022, we were consulted again via a 5-day protocol because of all these revisions, and through additional information and assessment, this committee agreed with the officer recommendation to approve the scheme. So there were improvements made to it. So starting off with the
fact that we approved, supported the officer rather than agree to disagree means there must have been some real improvements in it.
Yeah, I believe so. That's just to give you an idea of the footprint, which obviously is not changing. There is a slight.
You are sharing your screen at the moment, are you, Duncan?
I'll keep it shared until we get to the end of these applications. Yeah. So anyway, this application is they wish to proceed with their permission without compliance of condition 1. In this instance, condition 1 refers to the approved plans. So we sort of ask ourselves what has changed. Okay, I'm gonna make this. I put a lot on these single drawings, but I'm sure we can find our way through. Where are we? Bottom left-hand corner, right? There we go. Okay, so that was what was approved. That's what we looked at last time, and eventually, which came through to be approved. So this new proposal has a key change is the addition of 6 Juliet balconies at first floor and second floor level. So if we look there, they were just windows opening out. Nope.
Was it next door? That was it. I thought we'd had this discussion on the Juliet balconies ages ago. Because I can remember saying
Approved plans don't have Juliet balconies on. I can remember a conversation. I'm not certain it was this building though. I think it was. I think it was a different building, and because I remember Councillor North being really not liking the idea of feeling it was too residential in a high street setting. But I don't believe it was this. But I don't think it was this building because this is the approved. This is the approved plan. As I say, this is what you're looking at here is the approved plan, and the proposal has not only Juliet balconies, but you'll see that they've that first floor and second floor fenestration has been redesigned, much larger windows for the 6 northwest facing flats. The reason for this redesign can be seen if we look at the revised floor plans. Which I think is up here. Yeah, if we look at these revised floor plans, just compare them. So that's the approved floor plans of those northwest facing, looking out to sea facing bedrooms, apartments. And you'll see what they've done is, if we just flick between the two, you'll see that they've taken down the partition walls. So previously you've got your kitchen, living room area and partition wall separating off the bedroom. They've got rid of that, and as you can now see, that's enabled them to have a much larger a window that spans almost, the whole wall of the room, and the Juliet balconies as well. Previously they wouldn't have been able to do that. Yeah, so that partition between the bedrooms and the main habitable rooms has gone. I want to go back now to the bottom left, also back to that drawing again. The ground floor shop windows have changed as well. So along the at street level. So that's the approved that you're looking at, and the proposed is yeah, kind of similar but different. This reflects a reproportioning of how the space is shared between the 3 retail units. If you remember, what was one big unit is being split into 3. They've just reproportioned the space slightly. What I'm not certain about is this structure that appears on the top of the roof. There is access to the top of the roof already, so I'm really not certain what that is. It appears on more than one drawing, and I couldn't see any reason for it, so we might want to ask the officer about that. We've also got a change in exterior finishes. Previously, we were looking at the walls having a sand and cement render to the sides and the rear, with boarding and coloured panels to the front. The front now will feature vertical timber to the 1st and 2nd floor and vertical timber cladding to the ground floor, it says.
Carry on, Duncan.
Yeah.
A bit about the
Yeah.
floor extension there.
Yeah, and then there's where are we? The southwest and southeast elevations. So again, there's this difference in colour. This is, you can actually see this if you just sort of hop down onto the road and have a look around. The approved plans show some greenery which is absent from the revised proposals. This reflects a change to flat 9, which is being enlarged. So I'm just going to go up to the second floor flat again. This flat 9 is a sort of kind of rear facing one. So flat 9 occupies this space here on the approved plan.
And then to the right, you've got.
And then you had a lock up and store, and then this is actually an open flat roof area where they were going to put this sedum roof, this bit of flash of green that you saw. I didn't quite understand it because it was it's like a sedum roof behind a parapet wall. Anyway, but what they've done is you'll see that this lock up and store and this open, I mean, is effectively an outdoor area here, is being built up so that it becomes an internal space, and it's all being added to flat 9. So this makes flat 9 much bigger, but you lose that little flat roof section. It only was quite small. That would have had a sedum roof on it.
Weird lounge which nobody could access.
Yeah.
So you have this weird lounge there. I don't know which flat was going to access that.
No, I don't know. I don't either. But it's now. It appears now to become. It was a strange design, wasn't it? When you look back on it, it was really peculiar. Maybe.
Now it's a kitchen.
Bit. But yeah, that's that's your application anyway. That's the change that they're making to it. It looks, without being rude about the building, because I haven't done any work, it looks so tatty at the moment anyway. You could, to be honest, anything they did to it would improve that aspect. It's between the between what was Henwoods and the it's that sort of gap between the two buildings, and it really does look tatty. So this would improve it. I think the key changes though really that will be interesting are at the front of the building, aren't they?
Concerns. John?
I'd really like to see the ground floor being retained as retail accommodation.
It is.
It is. All right. Okay. Makes more sense.
What they've done, John, what they did, they've already approved this. They chopped it into 3 smaller retail units. It was felt that the demand for the big unit just wasn't out there, and so it's designed to be 3 smaller units, and that's changed. They've ever so slightly reproportioned them.
What's that?
That's the bin store, which at the time we took a bit of arguing about to get that sorted out, because it wasn't. I think they came up with a proposal that kind of swept it all under the carpet. Yeah, and so I know our comments at the time fought quite hard to keep that bin store and recycling stores, and the flats will actually there's a covered walkway that you'll go through between these 2 buildings that we can see out the window to get to the flats, and there's the security key code to get in and all of that sort of stuff. All of these things were ironed out when we looked at it last time.
Where do the shops put their rubbish and stuff?
space at the back here that says service. So I mean, potentially, if it's dry waste, then it would just go in this area that's, you know, at the back of the shop.
Can we find out what the strange monolith on the top of the roof is? It's-
Look at it, and I couldn't tell.
Used to be.
This is what the
Related to the
Yeah.
lift, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Staircase going up.
yeah.
asking for an extension to 9 o'clock, which I'm hoping will not need. Sarah seconded, show of hands, everybody has supported that. Application 3, which is 14 PA 24 stroke 05319, 17 Carmino Way. Extension to dwelling forms additional bedroom for level access.
Okay then, Carmino Way off Beneath Way, running parallel to that section of Henver Road. Let's have a look at the street view. Right, this is our property. This little, I think it's a garage, if I remember correctly. This is, you can just see the pitch roof of it. This is an important part of the application. So just to sort of confirm that there is a street view of the works that they're doing. They're not at the back. They are sort of visible from the street. Have a look at the right. Okay. The block plan there. Let's just increase the size of that there. Yeah, just to show the red line site and the proximity to the neighbours. Yeah, we don't appear to have a proposed block plan, but my understanding is that this is that garage that I was just pointing out to you, and I believe the applicant is looking to utilise the space occupied by what appears to be that pitch roof garage. Yeah, I think that, so they're looking to put something in that space there. I think the floor plans are helpful here. Yeah. So on the left of the screen, this is that garage that we could see on the street view and on the block plan. And as I say, they're looking to sort of partly utilise that space and maybe a little bit more to create this, what they're referring to as an additional bedroom or level access bedroom. So they're building onto the side of the house. They're creating a bedroom with an ensuite. There is a separate external access to this, and the internal access is via the utility room. I mean, it may have been not possible to connect with the kitchen diner because that might be where the cooker is or the sink or something like that. But it does have its own separate access.
Got rid of the WC that was on the.
Yes, that's right. That storeroom had a WC, didn't it? And that's gone. Yeah, but the addition of an ensuite at the back of the bedroom. In terms of what it looks like, I don't think we need to worry too much about what it looks like now, but this is this is what you can see. In fact, no, we will compare them. So that's that garage, that pitch roof garage that we can just see behind those cars. The proposed, you've got this kind of flat roof. The top image, the street facing one, flat roof with a street facing window. No windows to the rear, but that's that would be that ensuite bathroom, and then that's the side entrance that I mentioned. Yeah, that is the application.
Anybody got any problems with this one?
I don't have problems with it. I query the design of it, that you have a door there going straight into a bedroom. I think the design could have been a bit better, and that they haven't got a door going into the garden. They've just got a window. It's got the two roof lights, and I think one of the roof lights is in the bath, over the bathroom, isn't it?
They've got a going into the side passage, haven't they?
Yes, but that goes effectively straight into the bedroom space. I thought they would have had like a little porch, or it just seemed a bit odd. Yeah,
Maybe that's meant as the garden, access to the garden.
yeah.
I suppose you can have a door out of the toilet into a.
No, but the window isn't in the toilet, is it? The window's to the side of the toilet area.
Yeah, we're not allowed.
But-
We're not allowed to redesign something.
No, I said like,
Material planning
no,
reasons against
I
it.
haven't got any problems with this. I'm quite happy to propose.
Francis?
I just wondering, sorry, I hadn't seen this one, but do they describe any intention for this room apart from being on the ground floor accessible?
Do say it's because they believe they're going to be disabled elderly in the future,
Okay,
and then it's a flat access. That's what they're saying. We're just planning for the future.
Thing was for runoff from the roof. That needs to. There's been no indication of a soakaway at all, so that needs addressing. So I'd propose no objection pending that the soakaway is agreed.
Yeah, I think that's sensible. I would second that. Southwest Water being very strong now on.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
They don't want
yeah,
any
yeah.
extra water going
No.
into the sewers.
Yeah.
So no objections, show of hands for no objection. Fine, thank you very much.
So I'm doing planning application 5 because you've looked at 4, haven't you? Planning application 5 is PA 24/05483, 37 Treloggan Road, proposed extension and alterations. Let Duncan catch up on the minute. That's fine. No, that's fine. Right, so I think we start off with the location plan. Okay, so we're We're halfway along to Logan. Oh, I've got my pointer, haven't I? Let's get my pointer on.
I used it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. It took me
Oh.
time. Got to switch it on. That's the problem. It's a killer.
Right. Okay. So it's halfway along to Logan Road. We've got the turning off here into the back of the estate going on. Yeah, up here. So
I have
Some-
an additional document for you.
Oh.
There's one that you'd not done, which is, that was the existing, and there was a proposed as well.
okay.
So,
Okay. Apologies. if
no,
I
no, no,
missed
no,
it.
no, that's,
Okay. Okay. So, yeah, that's just got the proposed extension on then, I think at the side. If we can have, a look at the street view, please, Duncan. Sorry, I've got the tail end of that, it's that summer cold that's going round. There we go. So, we've got, this is the garage here, which effectively is going to become the extension. And if you look at the neighbour here, they've already got an extension on top of their garage. So, you know, this is a common thing which is done down the road. If we go forward, then the tree's in the way. So that's sort of like the best view we've got of it, I'm afraid, at the moment. So if we have a look at the current plan and elevations. There we go. It's you know, a basic you know, two double room, single room upstairs and basically downstairs in the garage. And we just saw, you know, this is what it looks like from the road. And then if we can have a look at the, yeah, that's just squaring it off really from the road. So getting rid of the garage, extending their living space downstairs, and creating a bigger bedroom and another room upstairs. So yeah, before and afterwards, they're just making it bigger, the width of the garage. Really? There's no, not at all. And as I said, you know, there's extensions on garages and things that have been happening elsewhere. So nothing.
Do you want to make a proposal?
If I just say it's got to be, there's a side window, and to make sure, I think it has indicate that it's got obscure glass on it on the bathroom. Yeah, I think does that say that's obscure?
no, to the ensuite, it's to be obscure glaze.
Yeah.
And privacy to neighbouring properties, and that's the only additional
So it's
window on
It's
that
quite interesting
side.
because the window actually is in the shower, which is how, yes, how bizarre.
That's the only additional window, isn't it?
Yeah,
On that side
yeah,
of the
yeah,
property.
yeah. And I haven't written anything else. So I've got nothing. Yeah, support. I've proposed a support on this.
Support.
Yeah.
John is supporting it. Show of hands to support. I think it's a minimal change.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll use our,
Yeah.
whatever the H policy is that supports.
They've still got
extension.
off-road parking.
H1, isn't it? We support that sort of, we've had enough of them after all.
Yeah.
Right, so.
Oh, right, you're going out with number 6. Okay. All right, okay. I'm doing this one as well. So application 6, PA 24/04803, 23 Bonython Road, proposing hip to gable extension, front dormer and rear extension. So I'm sure we've looked at this property before. Or we've looked at next door. Anyway, so yeah, if we can have a look at the location plan, Rina, when you've got that in a mo. This does actually add a lot of bulk to the building, so.
The one next door to it is bigger, isn't it?
Yeah, we looked at this one, I think, when I started a couple of years ago, I think about putting something like a garage in the front garden here. So it's this one here, and you can see that next door's already extended at the back. And this is sort of what they're going to be proposing as well. And you can see the other neighbours have as well, really. So if we have a look at the street view. There we go. It's pretty.
The ugly bit of it.
Yeah, you know, the bungalow here. We've got roof lights in there already. Pretty of its time. Let's put it that way. If we have a look at the current block plan. That's the current block plan of it with, you know, it's got its front porch and, you know, the pitch of the roof going this way. And then if we then look at the proposed block plan, you can see that most of the extension then is at the back and in here. So you can see that it's quite a bit, it's sort of matching the neighbour. That there's going to be the small dormer at the front, but most of it is then this extension at the back, pitched roof with roof lights in, and then a flat roof, with roof lights in here. And then a shifting, I think, of the roof light then in the top here as well. It's interesting, yeah.
It's right up to the boundary, doesn't it?
It does
Next
go right,
door.
but it does butt up against next door. Okay, so I think that's right. Anyway, hang on. If we continue, so if we look at the existing floor plan. So at the moment, they've got a conservatory at the back here, and that will be going. You know, you've got the bedrooms, you know, it's bog standard, you know, living room, dining room, kitchen sort of thing, and the conservatory at the back here. And then if we look at and it's got stairs upstairs just into a space, into a bedroom at the top. Which it wouldn't surprise me if it never got planning permission for, but I don't know. It has got a little window on there. If we then look at the proposed floor plans.
Before we do that, would I be correct in saying that the office is a flat roof, bit of infill?
Yeah,
Isn't it?
yeah.
Right. So this then.
I don't seem to have anything floor plans for whatever's underneath that. Oh, I see. Is this the floor underneath there is the dining room on the left hand side?
Yeah.
Right, I understand.
So the office is where the staircase is going to be going with the proposed floor plans. And so it is filling up right against the neighbour downstairs to create a dining room, kitchen diner open space then with a concertina window at the front into the garden. The office, oh no, I beg your pardon, the office is still there, the staircase is going behind it. They've got the 2 bedrooms downstairs and a bathroom, and then the staircase goes upstairs, and you can see that it's a much bigger space upstairs, which is then becomes ensuite and a double room with the door going onto the balcony, I think. No, it's storage. Sorry, it's storage space then under the eaves. Of course, it can't be a balcony because the apex of the roof's there, isn't it? Duh. And then with the window with the dormer bit just going view onto the street. I'm not sure why they're bothering with that.
They're already semi-detached from one next door, aren't they?
Yes, yeah.
It's extending, so
Yeah.
You know if this is open space?
No, I think it's part of it. If you want to go and have a look at, I didn't look at the satellite image. If you go back to the road, if you click on the road bit, and then it will give you, oh. No, didn't do that. We didn't. Ignore me. I'll shut up. If we have a look at the satellite image, it will. That's Carmino Way. We want Benython Road.
Close.
Go, just 23 Benython Road. No, it's
Looks like
it looks like a pergola space, doesn't it, from here? But I think that's
it might be conservatory.
might
That might be a glass. like
yeah, it
glass
might be. You
roof.
can't tell. But there's a wall there. So they're building up to the wall, aren't they? So the conservatory here is coming out. And they're sort of mirroring the neighbours, aren't they? Really?
Any proposal?
Well, I haven't. Well, do you want to see the elevations? I'm just sort of covering.
I think this one's less straightforward than the other one.
Yeah. So these are the current elevations.
So that's the existing.
Existing, yeah. And that's the proposed. So that you see that the big change. So the wrong one. Right. Okay. So that's the side-on view. So the extension being come out here with the door and the two roof lights on there. This is the back view from the back garden with the concertina door and the window over the kitchen space, and then the big window to the side here. It doesn't say how that wall and how it butts onto the neighbours. That is the only thing I'd be concerned with. But I don't know if that's a planning thing or a legal issue with the neighbours,
I
really.
think you could go no objection subject to
And-
adverse effect on the neighbouring property.
And it doesn't say about a drainage again.
There's
And
lots from Southwest Water on it.
Is there?
Yeah, they've got three.
I can't remember. Do I?
It's only just come in, only came in on the 3rd.
Oh, really? Oh, sorry, because I did this a few days ago.
Right, so we've
Oh,
got
sorry.
three from Southwest Water.
right.
They're blinking.
Oh, is it their drains?
You've got to look at these. Of them. I hate them. Right, proposal, blah, blah, blah. Asset, please find attached a plan showing the approximate. There's a sewer there, combined sewer in the vicinity.
Right, okay.
Southwest want to need to know about any building walk over or within 3 meters of a public
Okay.
area. We will discuss with you whether your proposals will be affected by the presence of our apparatus and the best way of dealing with any issues, as you will need permission from Southwest Water to proceed. Further information regarding can be blah, blah, blah.
But have they put a drainage?
Then it
thing
says
that-
surface water service. The applicant should demonstrate to your local planning authority that its prospective surface runoff will discharge as high up the hierarchy of drainage option. Then we go down the 5 options.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
finish up with the sewage
But does
undertaker.
it say, yes, no surface water strategy details were provided?
Yeah.
So it hasn't provided any surface water details. And a concern I have then is this flat roof is butting onto the neighbours. So where's the drainage going to be going from that flat roof and from the 2 pitched roofs as well? So they need to have their drainage details on that. So I think it's a case of I propose no objection, but all the drainage needs sorting out.
Subject to agreement with Southwest Water.
Sub to the agreement Southwest Water and consultation with the planning officers to the boundary with next door.
No adverse effect on the
Yeah,
adjacent
yeah,
property.
it's in no adverse effect on the adjacent property. Yeah.
I'll second that. Yeah. Sheriff Hansler, do you have objection on that basis? You've got enough there, Duncan. That was the last one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Have we? Oh,
Could go off there.
I was going to go, yeah, indeed. I was going.
This is,
Oh. So I keep on logging out of my, because I haven't got I'm still going through not the right route. They never did sort out my access. Right.
in
This one.
in 2004, permission was given for the demolition of the Trenance Hotel
Oh,
on the Crescent and the erection of 8 residential apartments and 15 holiday apartments.
we've had quite a few of these changing what they are.
We've not seen one
Did
for
not
a
seen one
while.
recently.
Oh, it seemed to be. Yeah, so there you go. That's Crest Court. So once upon a time, that was the site of the Trenance Hotel. And then, as I say, in 2004, permission was given for 8 residential and 15 holidays, so 23 apartments altogether. I mean, the plans here don't really tell us much. This is the apartment in question. The application is for the holiday restriction to be removed, so this would become an open market regular use class C3 apartment. Yeah, the application form says change of use from restricted holiday let to unrestricted use, and it says the existing use is as a 1-bedroom apartment. That's really all the information that we've been given.
Is that correct?
Just one of the, I think there are 23 in there altogether, but it is a mix of residential and non-residential. There is some parking at the back, and I wonder if but there's certainly not enough for 23. I wonder if the parking at the rear is actually for the residential ones. So presumably there could be 8 parking spaces. This would require a 9th parking space, presumably.
Seated at the rear, not at the front. So
It is sort of quite rough and ready around the back there.
Putting that into context, then if we look at the floor plan again. So it has, I presume, because I really find that this was inadequate information with this one. So do we take is this a window, 2 windows at the back? So a window and a little tiny window on the back lane, and
Looks
another
like it, yeah.
and the window at the side, no other windows. We don't know is this 2-story? Is it a single story?
It will be single story. Might be we don't know which floor it sits actually.
No, I mean this is it. It's at the
Can I
rear.
just point out that this is the 17th change. Did you say there were 15 holiday apartments?
Yeah.
We've had 17 changing from holiday to full residential. Last one was number 2 in 2019, number 3 in 2018, number 22 in 18, number 28 in 18, number 27 in 18, number 38 in 18, 21 in 18, 15 in 18, and then we got a job lot of 7, 10 and 20, all in 18. I'm not going to do the others, but effectively pretty much every single residential has been changed now to, and I'm not sure there's anything we can do about it. Their precedent has been set. They're grotty little, they're less than attractive little flats, but someone will be happy to live in them. I would say. And is it saying they're already, is it saying they've already lived like that? We've seen them before.
Yeah.
We have seen these small flats.
Amazing. And
Yes.
if it's the last one, cumulative effect of one
I'm not
person,
sure
it's
it's the
not going to be a
last one,
traffic
but it
problem
must
in
be
the area.
pretty close to the last one.
It's already is what it is. There's no
They
way
don't
to
say which
change
floor
it.
it's on. It's not one of those attic flats, are they? And my proposed
No,
no
it's-
objection.
I'm
No,
gonna get it second
second
floor,
that.
but
Precedent set.
Yeah, it's too late to do,
so sorry.
You're absolutely right in what you say, but
but there's not much.
I proposed.
No,
I think-
seconding that. Everybody.
Show of hands for no objection.
I'm going to abstain on that one because I'm just not happy that we
Yeah,
don't
you
have
just-
enough information. I mean, because looking at the lines on the location plan, it looks like it's a completely separate bit of building.
The thing is, though, it's had to go through Cornwall Council's validation, and probably for this change of use, it's the bar is probably quite low in terms of. But I'll note that you.
We can't see 13 and 12 have actually changed, so maybe they're still holiday account. Or they might have started off as residential. Splendid, thank you very much. It's getting a bit dark now, so I think if we put the lights back on.
It's like the light's going on after this goes.
Yeah. Okay, right. Are we changing our terms of reference? No. Right. Anything from association recommendations from working parties? Well, Newquay Neighbourhood Plan is interesting. We will have a meeting at the beginning of September, but the government is clearly changing the rules. That will have effect on the local plan. And that will then have an effect on the Newquay neighbourhood. So thank goodness we didn't try and revise the Newquay neighbourhood plan before, because clearly we need to be last on that. And it's going to be years away, but it's probably still worth. I think in terms of what's been announced so far, the changes down in Cornwall are pretty limited. It's not, we're not the area where they need to start building more houses, but we will see. Let's not take anything for granted. Parking we haven't had. Oh, did you send around the parking figures?
I do apologise. I'll do that. I'll do that
If you could
first thing
send round the
tomorrow.
parking figures to
Yeah.
the working party and to the members of the committee, it was good fun. And if you could send both this year's and last year's so they can compare them. Last week was a bit hectic. Have we spent any money?
We have not.
Right. Have we any other correspondence?
We have no other correspondence.
The only item for information discussion only is that we finally had our meeting with Cornwall Council on the Whipsnade Cliffs. It was, Francie was there as well. It was, I thought, very constructive. I thought what was interesting was there was a very heavy representation from the Cormac people looking at the cliffs, the cliff specialists, and at our request, the Environment Agency expert. And what I thought was very encouraging was clearly our cliff experts and the Environment Agency person were working very, very closely together. And I would point out that they wrote the bits and they wrote all the policies. I edited them to make them more likely. Planning, they've still got a planning application that's extant. Nobody quite knows what's going to happen next, but they could come back in with a second discharge, a third discharge. So we are, and I think personally, I've actually contacted at least one MP and said, do you think you can change the law on this? Yeah. But I thought it was constructive. We were sort of saying what we needed was something more like Newquay Safe, but Newquay Cliffs, so that everybody involved, including the Safe Whipsnade Cliffs people, would be up to date. But they didn't want us to actually say anything in public until they produced the minutes of the meeting.
Yes.
That's
Yeah, they're producing.
Yeah.
See and publish. I thought, yeah, it was a very constructive, open meeting. They seemed very genuinely keen to find the right answer. We suggested, the mayor suggested potentially linking some CCTV up there, so they're going to explore whether that was feasible.
not.
The concern is because they've locked these gates,
Yeah.
that we've had now at least one event where somebody got stuck.
And if it ends up being, you know, young teenagers or a family and they end up getting stranded and, you know, battery signals die very quickly when you don't have, you know, things. So, you know, most people have mobile phones, but batteries die. And at the end of a long day, we don't want people to be stressed into making dangerous decisions.
Yeah.
So,
And the others,
I think it's an open conversation.
yeah.
If it's an open conversation, sometimes there are those old fashioned phones, so put your microphone on, put your microphone on.
Apologies. If it's an open conversation, you know, sometimes there are places where they have this sort of emergency phone where you can smash a plastic thing to access and call the Coast Guard.
Seem to be relying on mobile phones.
That's
What the mayor suggested was, look, we can keep an eye on it. And the other thing is that if there is something happens, rather than sort of go through the Cornwall Council process, which is immensely slow, go to the Coast Guard, is just give if it's in working hours, give a town council a ring and give them the code for the key, so one of our facilities people can pop up there in 5 minutes. I thought that was a very I'm not sure how whether they're going to take that on board, but I thought it was a very sensible suggestion.
But also to add to that, they are, I can't remember the people specifically, but there are people in the room who are in a regular contact with the Coast Guard and the RNLI to do with other things going on in Cornwall, but this is on that list of places to discuss as well. So the RNLI and the Coast Guard are very aware of what's happening there. And it was felt that, you know, it was good. I think more needs to happen. That wasn't the end, but it was the beginning. Good beginning.
Interesting if we can carry on like NukiSafe and sort of have updates about whether there have been incidents. There was some discussion about putting a lock so you could open the gates from the inside, but I mean their response was Councillor Fitter was a bit upset when he thought that we didn't trust surfers. I don't trust surfers at all. And
not just surfers. Some surfers, you have good surfers. They're like cyclists, aren't they?
Open it up and then block it for them. So that didn't get very far. I mean, what we really want is some guarantee that eventually, when the cliff stabilizes, if the cliff stabilizes, that we would get the steps at all. The steps apparently are safe. The problem is the stuff falling down on the steps. If you're on there, it should happen with no.
Yeah.
The long-term future for the road is not good. And they said this wasn't the only place on that road, so the long-term future. And they came in with this very sort of what we now need to discuss is the second half of a CCMA is the management plan. What are you going to do when the inevitable falls? Didn't help that we'd had a fall at Great Western that day. I don't think it was a particularly serious fall. And it's a place where it fell before, but you know, the cliff is crumbling. We are going to have to consider what we need to move, what we need in infrastructure. John.
I think we should consider a weight limit on that road now, 7.5 tons. A weight limit on the road. Because it gets the vibration from these massive lorries, it doesn't help at all.
Actually a restriction on weight. I mean, I've always thought it would be at Porth, down the bit that comes around Porth Beach is going to be a problem. So but it'll be very interesting to see what happens because that's what they're thinking about now. And it was very good to see how closely that, I mean, the sort of cliff experts and DEFRA were pretty much talking in a duet, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite.
Extensive 3D plans and analysis and loads of stuff. It was very interesting to see the images that they shared of what they think the cliff looks like now, obviously what it has looked like in recent months, and then potential areas of weakness as well. It was they're on it. I felt confident, and there was about 8 people from different organisations there as well. So they took it seriously. It lasted an hour and a half. So yeah,
you know, talking about reducing weight limit, of course, then the double decker buses won't be able to go on there. So the, you know, the Atlantic Coaster and the school buses, they're all double deckers, aren't they, that go
Yeah.
along there?
They will have to. think about
Coaches, yeah. Yeah, that is the reality of that situation, which we've suddenly been put in.
Slightly sooner than we thought we
Yeah.
would be.
Yes.
Right, so the next meeting is, what, whole fortnight away? On the 14th. Oh, weekly, sorry about that. Was there anything specific on weekly decisions?
Well, Way didn't got used.
What did?
Well Way, you remember we looked at Well Way one, the White House on Well Way.
Oh, yes, we did, didn't we?
Yeah, that got refused. The proposed extension.
Yeah.
And 3 Century Court, that got refused as well.
Yeah,
What's that one?
not surprised.
No, so,
Those are both two that we objected to, were they
yeah,
not? So the system works.
yeah.
Was there anything else you wanted to bring up on the previous decisions? No. Right, so I think we are now on the date of next
Yeah.
meeting, which is a whole fortnight away, the 14th. Actually, that sounds like more than a fortnight. I suppose it is 2 weeks today.
Duncan, can I send my apologies that we're already, please?
Right.
Thank you.
Currently 2 vacancies for committee and 3 substitutes. So thank you very much for today, because we had people popping in and out.
Yeah.
So it shows that we really got to have a minimum of 5 here.
Yes.
Thank you, Duncan. Thank you for the technical. You can switch us off